world, I'm Colleen and welcome to my glamorous life. I'm that almost 50-year-old mom with 3 teenagers here to give you some helpful tips, tricks, and honest reviews. And on Wednesdays, we do weird history and makeup. And let me tell you, I've had a day. I've had batteries fail, forgot to turn on the microphone, couldn't remember what I was talking about. This is about the 4th time I've shot this video, so hopefully we get it right this time. We're going to talk about the Belle of New Haven, Sarah Winchester, and her amazing mystery house. This is kind of near and dear to my heart because I grew up not too awful far from the Winchester mystery house in the 80s, so let's get to it. Okay, before we get started on the Belle of New Haven, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Pureaty Naturals. They provided me with this lovely Biotin Eyelash and Eyebrow Serum to try out, and I've been using this for about the last week and a half, and I don't know if you can tell, I haven't done my eyebrows yet. I've actually got some eyebrows going on. The hair is starting to fill in where it's been really sparse here for like the last 20 years. It's been sparse. And it's starting to fill in a little bit. They feel like they're getting a little thicker. I've also noticed that my eyelashes actually are looking a little better. Of course, this being the 4th time I've done my makeup for a film today, it can't really tell because my eyes are kind of like, really? But that's okay. Anyhow, this serum comes in a standard, like almost like an eyeliner. And at night, you just run that through your eyebrows and right on your lash line. And there's green tea extract and all sorts of good stuff in here in addition to the biotin that helps your lashes and brows grow stronger and longer. And neat thing is, cruelty-free and vegan. I'll put a link to them down in the description below so you can check them out. I just wanted to thank them for letting me try this out. Now, let's get into this. The Belle of New Haven, Sarah Winchester. She was born Sarah Lockwood Pardee she was like the 5th of 7 children, and she was born somewhere around 1835 or so, 36. Nobody's positive because, you know, records and all that, but in Connecticut. And she, by all accounts, was an incredibly gifted young lady. She was what you'd call a child prodigy, okay? We're going to do our foundation with the Laura Geller Quench and Tint. Please focus on there we go. Quench and Tint Hydrating Foundation today in the shade Light because my skin, as fuzzy as it is, because we're fighting with the autofocus again. Thank you. As fuzzy as my skin was there, it's still on the pale side from the winter. And this is just a perfect light little hydrating foundation that blends into my skin super easy. I don't have to use a brush. I don't have to use a sponge. I can just very carefully swipe it on and it looks beautiful. And it just gently evens out and hydrates up my skin. Covering up the sins of the day will be the Jeffree Star Concealer. This is the color C6, which is one of his olive-based, which I love. You know me and olive-based stuff, you know. I may be wet, but I got olive in my skin. All right, so I'm just going to not too heavy with this because this is a really good concealer as far as it covers everything. But if you get too heavy with it, it will crease a little bit. I have to say it doesn't crease as bad as some. When I've used like Shape Tape, can't stand it. This stuff actually, it goes on, and once I've got it on, it stays on. So I like it. Anyhow, the Pardees, the family into which Sarah was born, they were respectable. They were middle class, New Haven, Connecticut family. Her father was pretty shrewd. He was a joiner, kind of went up the ladder of success and became a successful carriage manufacturer. And during the Civil War, he made a fortune supplying ambulances to the Union Army. Now, Sarah wasn't a plain Jane, okay? She was known for her beauty. She was like 4'10". She was a tiny little thing, but she was very beautiful and very bright. She spoke numerous languages fluently. she subscribed to the Baconian theories about Shakespeare and Francis Bacon and all that. And it was just, she was like into numerology and encryption and number ciphers and all of this. This is what she kind of grew up with, okay? Now, she was also somewhat into spirituality throughout her life, which, if you know anything about the Victorian era, spirituality, especially post-Civil War, was huge. People pretending to be psychics and mediums, and people wanting to communicate with their deceased relatives. Okay, before I forget, this is my Urban Decay Ride or Die eyeshadow potion primer. Primer potion. So that's what I'm putting on there. Now, while she was doing her thing in Connecticut and what have you, and was learning all this philosophical stuff, William Wirt Winchester, who would be her husband, was born in Baltimore around 1837. He was the only son of the founder of the Winchester Repeating Rifle Company, Oliver Fisher Winchester. So the Winchesters moved to New Haven because it was like one of those hot places for the nouveau riche, if you will, to move. And they got into the firearms manufacturing, which became, you know, the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, because that was like the rifle to have, especially post-Civil War. So Sarah and William were married in about 1862, and they had one child, and that is Annie. Annie Pardee Winchester. She was born, and I'm using the Ace Beaute Nostalgia palette today. This came in one of my boxy charms this month. I'm using the color Popsicle to start with. Kind of a warm orange. She came along July 12th, 1866. Unfortunately, within a few weeks of her birth, she passed away from a disease that's known as marasmus. It is a form of malnutrition where the body cannot metabolize proteins, and there was nothing they could do for her. Now, Sarah and William never had any other children. They only had Annie. And after Annie died, Sarah kind of fell into a deep depression, as any mother would when she loses an infant or a child of any kind. All right, I'm going to go from Popsicle to the color Vacation, which is the brighter orange down here. And this depression really was hard on her. And then shortly after, within 15 years, she lost her husband. His father passed away in 1880. Oliver passed away in 1880. And then William died about a year later in 1881 from tuberculosis, and he was only 43 years old. So obviously her husband William had inherited Oliver's complete fortune. He inherited the whole Winchester Repeating Arms Company. Well, when William died, Sarah inherited everything as his only living heir. Now, this left Sarah with like thousands of dollars. It was like something like $20,000, I think. Let me double check my figure here. I can't remember what her exact figures were. She had some, I know she got like $1,000 a day back then. Here it is. She had $20 million that she received, plus an income from the Repeating Arms Company, because she was a 50% shareholder, so she had a huge stake in the company. She received about $1,000 a day income, which in today's money is like $30,000 a day. Like, that's almost an annual salary for some people, or at least half of an annual salary. That a day, 360, that's a lot of money. So she ended up pouring a lot of that money into the Winchester Mystery House, as we will get into now. So Sarah had a huge interest in all things Masonic and occult and spiritual, and just getting into everything. Not to say that Masonry is occult, because it is not. Oh, we can get into that another time. But there's a good chance that she actually may have joined one of the permissive French Masonic lodges that allows women to join. No hard evidence on that, but it's there. She took like 3 years and traveled all over Europe before finally moving on and settling in. And I'm talking and doing makeup. We're going to put stargazing right on my lid. Okay. So she did 3 years, a 3-year tour of Europe and the continent to kind of, I guess, get her head on straight. And then she finally settled in the Silicon, well, it wasn't the Silicon Valley. Then it was the Santa Clara Valley in San Jose. It's now what we know as the Silicon Valley. And I'm having one of those days. Really, this is the 4th time I've done this, and you think I'd get through it. All right. So she purchased a small, modest house in San Jose. And we're going to hit the corner of my eye with water slide. I'm really into like bright, warm colors because I'm freezing to death today. So we're going to hit water slide in the corner. Okay, so she bought this modest little house in the Santa Clara Valley, but in what is now San Jose. And she started building. And she never stopped. Okay, so this was around 1884. 84 or 85. There's some controversy over the exact date. We're going to take a little bit of fun and put it right on top of that water slide because I want that little extra pop of glitter, if you will. And I think we're good there. I'm going to go ahead and do my brows because I haven't done them yet, which is weird. Okay, I'm going to use the Milk Kush Fiber Brow in the color Dub, along with my 24-hour brow setter from Benefit and the NYX Professional Lift and Snatch brow pen in Ash Brown to do my, that way I don't have to tell you what I'm doing while I'm doing it, okay? Anyhow, okay. So when Sarah got to the Bay Area, she bought this small little house. It wasn't too small. I mean, it was an average size house, and she started building. Apparently she wanted to live close to some of her party relatives. She had a sister and a brother-in-law and some other relatives that lived in the area. The parties were pretty big. And while she was there, she bought this house. It was about 161 acres of land. She hired a crew, 20 carpenters or so to start with, and started this building project. And it's like she always had new designs. She would drive the contractors nuts. It's like she'd get up in the morning and she'd call the architects over and say, okay, this is what I want to do. And basically they just got to the point where they said, okay, Mrs. Winchester, and started building. Now, some of these building details, we have no record as to why she did it or what her thought was. Like, she's got a staircase that goes nowhere. It goes right up into the ceiling. There's nothing there. She's got doors that you open up and there's a wall behind them. She would build rooms, fully furnish them, and then wall them off because she wanted to build something else. The house sprawled. It went up to 7 stories high at one point, right before the 1906 earthquake. And during that earthquake, Sarah was trapped in her bedroom because the house shifted and it wedged the door shut. So she was trapped in a room for a few days, which contributed to the rest of her life being full of, she wasn't the healthiest. She also had severe arthritis, so she built some practical things into the house. The house had 3 elevators, and the stairs were what are known as easy riser stairs. So they were only a couple inches high because she could only lift her little 4'10" body a few inches at a time because of the arthritis. So she only had those little narrow stairs. So she has one set of stairs in the house that raise 9 feet up, which if you think about 9 feet, it's a little bit taller than your average ceiling, right? So in an average house, you've probably got 10, 12 stairs to get to the second story, give or take, depending on if you've got a switchback or whatever. Well, this set of stairs that she had built has 44 steps that switch back for that 9 feet 44 steps that you have to climb up, but they're all only about that tall. You know, and that says a lot. It was a unique innovation for her because she said, I can't do regular stairs, so we're going to do them this way. And the contractors went with it. Now, there is a theory that because Sarah spent so much time consulting psychics and mediums, she had a seance room in the house where she conducted, I don't know if it was nightly or weekly seances trying to reach her husband. But there is a theory that she met with this one medium, Karen, I don't remember, Adam something. And he told her that the reason, you know, she had so much tragedy in her life with her daughter and her husband passing away was because the Winchester Arms Company provided all these rifles that had slaughtered Native Americans, and those spirits were coming after her. So the theory is that a lot of these weird rooms and doors, like a door that opens up on the second floor and there's nothing. It's like if you open this door up and go out, you're falling 2 stories. The theory is that she did that to confuse these vengeful spirits, if you will. Now, whether any of that's true, nobody knows for sure because she didn't leave a diary or tell anybody. She was never interviewed about why she built the house the way she did or anything. Now, as I'm doing this, it's like I get concentrating on one thing and I can't finish. The house has like 47 fireplaces and 10,000 windows. She has some of the finest stained glass windows anywhere. I mean, they rival stained glass windows in Europe. She would have them imported. There's a whole room in, I think it's one of the basements, because there's 2 basements in this house, that has all these windows that she ordered that were never installed in her lifetime. And when she passed away, the contractors said, okay, and left. So a lot of their stuff was just left where it was. So these windows never were installed. Her relative that inherited the house really didn't want the house or anything in it. So legend has it that it took 8 moving vans, like 10 days or something, to empty out the house of all the furnishings. And there's no record of where the furnishings were taken, but they were auctioned off, sold off, and never to be seen again. Any of the furnishings that are seen in the house now when you tour the house are they're period accurate pieces for the most part that were donated or lent to the facility to portray what her house would look like. They have a couple of limited pieces that were actually Sarah's, but not many. Not many. As you can see, I mean, it takes me forever to do my eyebrows no matter what, but it didn't take that much anymore. That's why I like the Pureaty Naturals Lash Serum. So there's that. All right. What am I up to? You know what? I'm going to do a little contouring of my face because I can. And I have the Morphe 8T contour palette here. So the house. The theory is that she was scared of ghosts. So she constantly had construction. So there was construction going on pretty much 24/7. They would work all night, all day at her behest. And she would, like I said, drive the contractors nuts because she'd get up in the morning, call her architect in and say, this is what I want done. And it would be like she had a dream and wanted something. But she made a lot of innovations in the house. There is a bell system so that her servants would know where in the house she was. All she had to do was push a button and a number would flip down in the servants' quarters. And it would like say, you know, number 1, okay, she's in the dining room or she's in the conservatory. And she had indoor conservatories with special flooring for her plants so she could do gardening when she couldn't get outside anymore. She had raised gardens and beds and stuff that allowed her to do her gardening even with her arthritis. The other thing is they had tubes. So like if you were on the 4th floor of the house and you wanted to talk to somebody on the 1st floor, you could ring a bell. They would know to go to the tube. So you would stand at the tube. Somebody would talk into the tube at the 4th floor, and it would literally, the sound would travel down the tube under the house and up the next tube. And they're still used today. and are apparently just amazingly useful. So I'm going to, now that I've kind of got the contour and I want to blend it out a little bit more, I'm going to use my Coty Airspun. This is the translucent extra coverage 070-41, whatever that means. I don't know. I just know that my grandmother used this powder. I like this powder. It's one of my favorite. Almost out. Need to get some more. Anyhow, so it's definitely a labyrinth. You could easily get lost in the Winchester Mystery House, but they have tours and they have tour guides who are very well versed in the house. So if you ever get to San Jose, California and get the opportunity to take the tour, I strongly advise it. The house is said to be haunted, perhaps by Mrs. Winchester herself, perhaps by the spirits of those who were murdered by the repeating arms rifle, or former workers. We're going to use the Laura Mercier Blush Colour Infusion in Peach. This was given to me by influencer and Laura Mercier, just so we make that clear. And I do like it. It's kind of a bit of a knockoff, if you will, I guess, of NARS, the Orgasm Blush. But I kind of like this one because it doesn't need much of a highlight because it's got a nice glow to it without being overly shimmery. Okay. So there's lots of theories as to why the house would be haunted. You know, it could, they see a gardener running around. They see Mrs. Winchester walking, or a maid walking down the way. There's all these theories, right? But all of her mystical theories and philosophies that she went with, the house is full of the number 13 and spider webs. There's like 13 panels in a door, 13 windows. There's spiders in motifs on the wall. It's just kind of interesting that the number 13, because 13 is considered very unlucky. There are like buildings where there is no 13th floor because we can't have a 13th floor. It's unlucky. But 13 figured very prominently in Sarah's life, and we're not sure why. So let me shut up a minute, put my eyeliner on, because you know me, I can't talk and do eyeliner. All right, let me clean up my mess here. Because you know me, I make a mess every time I do my eyes. Where did I put it? There it is. The infamous one and only Scentsy Eyes for cleaning up makeup forever. I love this. And I always get the little bottles because they last me forever, because I don't use this to take off my eye makeup unless I've got like really hardcore makeup on. I really only use it to clean up like mistakes, and it works beautifully. So I always buy the little bottle, and these things last me forever. Come on, corner, work for me. There we go. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of my Laura Mercier translucent under my eyes, just because it looks like I got a little eyeshadow under there and I want to cover it up without having to put more concealer back on. There we go. This is that cute little Juno and Company microfiber little mini sponge that I got. I love it. Okay. So, ghosts and theories and all of this. This house is just, it's amazing to visit, and it makes you wonder what she was thinking about. You know, I mean, when she died in 1922, she died of a heart attack. Construction stopped. Like, workers set down their tools and walked away as soon as they found out she was gone. And the amount of time it allegedly took, though there is no like actual written record that says this is what it took. Oh, by the way, this is the Fenty Beauty Full Frontal Mascara. I don't think I'm wearing lashes today. My poor eyes have had it. All of that, you know, just she amassed such an amazing collection. There's a lot of, I mean, the house is like a Queen Anne style house, definitely, but the interior was what they call the aesthetic. I think it's aesthetic style, which is, you know, everyday functional things were to be beautiful. So the intricate carvings on the fireplaces. They've got a fireplace that just has like cherry blossoms in the tile and palm fronds in a pot in the tile on the fireplace. They've recently restored a couple of fireplaces in what they call the Japanese or Japan them. They're black lacquer with like gold inlay. To have seen this house in its heyday probably would have been awesome. And I don't mean like, oh my God, it's so awesome. I mean like awesome, like just awe-inspiring. Because Sarah collected so much and really put a lot of thought into how she designed things. You know, this may or may not have been a mental delusion on her part that, you know, ghosts were out to get her. And if you haven't seen it, there is the movie Mrs. Winchester, which kind of fictionalizes her life as far as the ghosts go. It's a little out there, but the beauty in that house as it is now is amazing. I first saw the house when I was like 7 or 8, I think. And it was one of those, you know, guided tours. It probably took us about 15 minutes. And they took you in and they took us into the seance room, which they called it the seance sewing room, whatever. I don't know if it was actually a sewing room or not, but they claimed that this was where she had her seances. And they brought us in the room and they closed the door and then turned out the light. Now, I don't think they do this anymore because I haven't had them do it to me since, but they turned out the lights in the room. And my little 7, 8-year-old brain went, ah! Got eyeliner on my hand. I freaked out. I was like scared. I was clinging to my mother. I did not want to be there. But I never felt anything maleficent in that house. That's the thing. I've gone back since. This house, the cupboard in that room that they locked us in opens up, and obviously the docent, after they closed the door, turned the lights out, walked around the corner to the other room and opened the door and let us out. But I've been there since. I've gone on Friday the 13th, which is a big day because of the number 13 figure so prominently in her her motifs in the rooms. And let's see, what else have I done? I've gone back for Halloween. I've never felt a spirit, which is kind of disappointing because I kind of think I felt spirits before in other places, but not there. But it does give you a weird vibe. It's almost like the house itself is a spirit. It sits beautifully in downtown San Jose, across from our big Santana Row, which is an upscale shopping center. It's next to the movie theater where I saw The Karate Kid back in the 80s. I don't even know if that movie theater is still there. I haven't been there in a while. But the house itself and the gardens surrounding it they have worked on this house for years, restoring it, and it's beautiful. The architecture and everything, the stories behind it, and the Museum of the Repeating Rifles that are there is just really amazing. So I'm going to finish off with a Bite Beauty lipstick, and this is Arjeo. And I have to wonder, you know, this kid, 4'10", little girl in Victorian America, basically, smart as a whip, learns all these languages, falls into all these kind of, not really conspiracy theories, but these existential theories, and gets fascinated with the occult and spirituality and masonry and all of this. Ends up married to the heir of a firearms company, and then scares herself because of the tragedy she has, and then allegedly builds a house to keep spirits away. And what she built is one of the finest examples of architecture. You know, started out 7 stories. The '06 earthquake hit and she knocked down the top 3 stories, but we still have pictures of it. And it's just the fact that this house is still there and it has been hosting tourists since 1923 and it's open every day of the year except Christmas. It is worth coming to see. So if you start traveling again or you happen to be in the Santa Clara Valley, San Francisco area, hop down to San Jose, visit the Winchester Mystery House, see how many times you can count 13 and how many spiders you can find. And see if you can catch a glimpse of 1 or 2 of the ghosts that allegedly haunt the grounds. And let me know. Or if you've been, let me know if you felt a presence at the Winchester Mystery House. Was Sarah Winchester there? Did you meet her? Well, so this is my basic little warm makeup for today because I'm cold and I wanted to be warm, so I'm warm. In the meantime, if you think of another weird historical fact or character that you'd like me to check out, put it in the comments below and I will check that out for you. Coming up later this week, I think we're going to try some makeup hacks, internet makeup hacks. My daughter said, Mom, have you done internet makeup hacks now? And I said, no, I haven't. So I think we're going to try that on Friday. So I will see you then. And in the meantime, be good.